Hello and welcome to Skills to Pay the Bills. I am your host, Tia Young. Today we have a remarkable young man in the studio. He is the founder and CEO of Emerge Business Coaching since 2009. He is the facilitator of the Emerging CEO Roundtable. He is the managing partner of Horizon Real Estate Group. And last but not least, our guest is a devoted family man and hobbyist. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Andre P. Smith to Skills to Pay the Bills. Andre, welcome.
Thank you, Tia. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Absolutely.
Good. Well, listen, I know we have a lot of questions that we have to get through, but I'm just nosy. Before we get into about Emerge Business Coaching, I want to know a little bit more about you, your family, and about this hobbyist thing.
Sure. So, as you said, I'm a devoted family man. I have one wife and one son. And we love to travel. We love to learn about new cultures. I'm also very involved in the leadership of my church, which I have been for about the last 7 years. And, you know, I have a hobby of cycling. So I'm an avid cyclist, so I spend a lot of time during the summer on my bike. And I've actually taken on a challenge to ride my first Century, which is a 100-mile bike race, which I have not done anything close to that in the past. Wow. And I'm usually a solo rider, so this is new for me to ride with a couple thousand other people.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah, well, I'm excited.
Well, keep me posted on how that turns out.
I sure will.
Good. So let's get into Emerge Business Coaching. What is that? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so Emerge Business Coaching is a firm that I founded in 2009. It's a professional development and coaching firm. So we work with mainly CEOs and some of executive team leaders where we help them bring and crystallize their vision for their company. So it could be working in areas of profitability, marketing, scaling their company. We help with all those areas, and usually it's through coaching, either group coaching or one-on-one, or facilitating a roundtable discussion.
Right, so you're doing seminars. I'm supposing that you do a lot of seminars.
Yes, we do a host of seminars and workshops, and as I said, we also work within agencies. So an example of that would be DC government, for instance.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to be the inaugural facilitator for the CEO Growth Academy, which was an academy that was led by Department of Small and Local Business, and I actually had about 17 entrepreneurs that I worked with for about 6 months. And so we grew them, we took them through everything from marketing to leadership to scalability of their company, and it was an exciting time.
Are you dealing with small business startups, or the ones that have been in business for a while? Yeah,
good question. So we have two tracks. One is emerging companies, so those are established companies who are doing things well but would like to do things better.
Okay.
So we work with them with strategic planning and those types of activities. And then there's startups. So these are people who may have concepts about starting a business, or may have started a business but maybe just didn't get it off on the right foot. And so we're able to come in and give some help and infrastructure to their businesses as well.
Andre, why did you come up with this concept, or how did you come up with it?
How did I come up with? Great question. So my background is community development, economic development. And so I worked in commercial real estate for a number of years, and development as well. And from doing that, I had the opportunity to work with a lot of small businesses and helping them secure space and helping them to create growth plans for their company. Because obviously we had to submit business plans when they were looking for ideal space or purchasing property when working with the bank. And so from that, I started to see patterns evolve with small businesses and some of the areas that they struggled in. But it wasn't until I actually hired a business coach myself that I fully understood how powerful it is to have an accountability partner and have someone that's outside of your business that can help guide you through the landmines. And so after going through that process with so many small businesses and hiring a business coach, I said, I'd like to do this for other people. And so that's how Emerge came to be, was an organization that was committed to helping growing small businesses, mostly minority-owned businesses, because that's where we saw the need. But we have worked with multiple different businesses across an array of different industries.
Wow, that's very good. I like that. Now, I know that you have published a number of works, and there are 2 books. You may have done more than 2, but these are the 2 that captured my sight. And I want to make sure I have the right titles. Compass for Success, is that right?
So that's a subtitle. The title is Goal Setting Mastery, Compass for Success, yes.
Okay, all right. And then the next is Leadership Development, 3.0?
That's correct.
Is that part of
That's
it?
correct.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so starting with Goal Setting Mastery. Goal Setting Mastery was born out of my own experience. Becoming an entrepreneur, I was working in the legal field, and I thought I wanted to become an attorney. And so possibly once I grow up, I still may pursue that. But for now, I have other things that keep my interest. But in Goal Setting Mastery, it talks about the struggle of the entrepreneur, how you start a business with passion and wanting to do things great for the community, but just not knowing exactly what to do and when to do it. And so my first venture was real estate, and so it took me 274 days to close my first transaction.
You're kidding.
Yeah, so you can imagine there was a little fear and trepidation and wondering if I made the right decision after leaving my good job.
Yeah.
And so and from that experience, what I realized is it took a different mindset to be an entrepreneur than one to be a 9-to-5 worker. And once that clicked for me, it was very easy to navigate entrepreneurialism. And so from there, taking 274 days to close my first transaction, Goal Setting Mastery, once I shift my mindset, I was actually create success for myself and increase my income. And so I went from not being able to close a transaction to being flown all around the country to talk to other realtors, realtor associations, banking associations, to tell them how to duplicate my success.
Now, I know the legendary John Maxwell is one of your mentors, and tell us about the mentorship that you have and how important is that?
Oh, it's extremely important. I've been very fortunate to say that John Maxwell is one of my mentors. John Maxwell, leadership guru, have taught leaders in every single country around the world, over 5 million people,
Wow.
head of states and leaders of countries, just a phenomenal leader. And I'm very blessed to say that he's one of my mentors. But I also have been able to glean from other mentors as well. And the one thing John Maxwell that rang true is integrity. Starting from the beginning to tell me that, hey, you don't have to compromise who you are to have success or even to be successful in business. And that's one of my greatest takeaways with him, is that he's always the same person every time you see him, and it's always positive and it's always something encouraging. And I took that page out of his book. So from there, I don't have bad days. I have challenges within days. Some days I have more challenges than others, but every day on this earth is a blessing, and so it's up to me to make the best of it.
Well, he is a phenomenal coach and
Absolutely.
mentor for many, many people. Do you have an opportunity to have FaceTime with him?
Yeah. So he have a number of events that he planned. There's a big event every year that's in Florida that those of us who are fortunate enough to be certified coaches are able to attend, and that happens every year, and it's exciting to see the energy that kind of surrounds those type of events.
Well, from your mastery, your goal setting masteries, am I clear that you have a digital tool as well as a workbook?
Yes. So how that came
about
to
that.
be is Goal Setting Mastery is a digital recording, as you mentioned, and the Mastery is actually an acronym. And so Mastery, it stands for 7 principles, and each of those principles guide you through goal setting. But not only that, but it's really to help you accomplish the goals and the dreams that you have. And goals are just simply milestones. They just add structure and meaning to our life. But most importantly, is the person that you become as you're on this pursuit to your goals. But the workbook came to be because I went to a number of different workshops and seminars, and what I found is after the next day, I was clueless as to where do I get started. And so we created the workbook, and with action plans in there that kind of allows you to walk through step by step for every single goal you set for yourself, how to apply these principles so that you can assure that you'll have success.
Wow. Now we're going to also, we mentioned earlier about you were the founder, I think, of the CEO Roundtable,
Yes.
Emerging CEO Roundtable.
Yes, isn't that
What
a
is that all
mouthful?
about? Yeah, that is.
That
It's
is
a
a
tongue
mouthful.
twister.
Yeah, so a lot of things that I'm involved in has born out of my own experiences. And so I've had the good fortune to work with a number of different leaders and entrepreneurs and business owners. And what I found that it's just a different level of energy when they get together, right? So it's wonderful to host workshops and facilitate these conversations. But what's even more rewarding is actually see the interaction between the two of them. And so from there, I created the Roundtable, which is a peer-to-peer type of environment that we set up, where these CEOs come and they actually share one with another totally transparent, and talk through different challenges that they may be having within their business, opportunities that they have, and be able to talk to people who have gone through similar types of challenges and be able to give some sound instruction as to how to address them.
Right. And how many are in this group?
Yeah, so typically we like 12. 12 is a great number.
Okay.
So we have about 12 in each group, and groups are forming all the time. And we bring in subject matter experts that talk to them in various aspects of their business. So in the end, they not only leave with the peer-to-peer experience, they not only leave with a new network of people, but they also leave with some strategic partners that can actually help them address some challenges, like access to capital, for one, is huge for small businesses.
Yes,
so we have a number of banking partners that come in and support the roundtable as well.
Well, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after these important announcements, so don't touch that dial.
Hi, I'm Coach Andre Smith, owner of Emerge Business Coaching. Welcome to the 6 silver bullets that you need to grow any business fast. If you're like most business owners, there are days that you struggle to keep your head above water, whether you're frustrated by a lack of quality leads, prospects, and customers, unproductive staff, just too much to do and not enough time to do it, or insufficient cash flow. Fortunately, I've been blessed to have spent the last 7 years coaching entrepreneurs just like you through the minefields of business ownership and growth. And during that time, together with my associate coaches that I had to bring on board to keep up with the demand, we've helped more than 100 businesses generate millions of dollars in revenue. And those totals keep going up every day. And after working with so many business owners, I realized something pretty amazing. A huge percentage of business problems can be traced back to one of 6 major blunders. Or even better, there are 6 silver bullets that you can deploy to correct them. They are an exit strategy. You have to know where you're going. A strategic plan. Without this, you don't know how to get there. An employee acquisition plan. Stop waging war against unproductive, bickering employees who just aren't passionate. Strategic marketing plan. Bring the kind of leads who will buy your products and services. A sales management system. Stop struggling to keep up with the revenue demands. A time management system. Get everything done with time to spare. After seeing these problems over and over again, I was inspired to write my free report, The 6 Silver Bullets That You Need to Grow Any Business Fast. In it, I tackle each of these silver bullets one by one. And I show you how to make this problem a non-factor in your business. Now, you can have access to this groundbreaking information at no cost. After all, there's only one thing more valuable than learning from your own experiences, and that's learning from someone else's experiences. So you don't have to mess up in the first place. This report reveals the top 6 mistakes business owners make and the silver bullets that you need to blast through each and every one of them to dramatically increase your profits, your profitability, your productivity, and free time. To claim your copy of this free report, simply email me at andre@emergebusinesscoaching.com.
Welcome back. You are watching Skills to Pay the Bills with our special guest, Andre P. Smith. Andre, prior to the discussion, we were talking a little bit about John Maxwell.
Yes.
And about your mastery tools.
Yes.
Now I want to hear a little bit about Gary Henson, because I know you also sat under his tutelage.
Yeah, so Gary, I was very fortunate. He was actually my first business coach.
Wow.
And he's been in the industry for years and years, probably have coached, several thousand people. And the myth is that he coined the word business coach back back in the late 60s. And so I'm not sure if that's absolutely true, but I'm going to go with that story.
Okay, all right, good. Now, I know that you seem to have hit the ground running by the time you got started in 2009.
Yeah.
So what was the transition like? What helped you to get started? I mean, most people, they leave a job and then they start a new business. And it takes them sometimes 5, 6, 7 years
That's
before
true.
they can, and it seems like that didn't happen for you. So can you talk a little bit about what you think maybe you did different?
Yeah, I think I was very fortunate. I had a lot of experience for things that didn't work well, and so instead of allowing that to defeat me, I said, okay, what can I learn from this experience? Even going back to working from my 9 to 5, I'd always had a desire to be an entrepreneur and to open my own business. So I never doubted that that would happen, even when I was working a 9 to 5. So my mindset always was going to a job to see how much can I learn from this job, from this position, from the people around me, the way this company is organized, and then how would I be able to use that for myself? So each and every day was a challenge and a learning experience for me, not just receiving a paycheck. So it kind of helped me in that sense that when I started my own business, I had already thought about this for years and years of ways not to do it before I got into business.
Right, and you had those great mentors.
And the great mentors
The
help.
great mentors
yeah,
help,
yeah,
yeah.
and a willingness to be a sponge and accountability. Allow people to kind of speak into your life and see things that may not be quite right and talk about what is the optimal result here. So I was willing to do that, and that's paid off for me.
Well, you know, I didn't get a chance to read, this is another book that you wrote. I did get a chance to get started a little bit on it, but I didn't get all the way through, but it was fascinating, the part that I read. The 6 Silver Bullets.
Yes.
Tell me about that. That's really an interesting title. How'd you come up with that?
So the 6 Silver Bullets, the idea here is that when business owners are struggling, right, and they're trying to make payroll, and you can talk about marketing and all these other fancy things that may help them, but at the end of the day is when you cut through all that, when the rubber meets the road, what is it that they need to do today to improve their business? And so I thought about that long and hard, and I said, well, what are the 6 things that somebody could implement in the business today and get results tomorrow? And that's how we came up with the 6 silver bullets. It's almost like a magical bullet. It is not magical in the sense that that you don't have to work, but it's something that they may not have thought about or may not have given enough attention to, but once applied, they will get enormous results.
Right. How important is mentorship for small business, especially startup businesses? I see a lot of startups and they just think that they can do it by their own.
Yeah.
And they get out there and, you know, maybe they do have a great idea, but then there's something else that has to go with that.
Yeah.
What would you say about that?
You know, I think about Michael Gerber, who wrote the book E-Myth, which was one of my favorite reads. And Michael Gerber talked about the fact that, you know, everyone's not an entrepreneur, even though they're running a business. And so he talked about how most people are actually technical. So you may have been a painter and said, I want to work for myself. So you open a business to be a painter. The reality is you're a technician. You don't have the skills that's required. You don't know enough about marketing and customer service and client relations and profitability and all those things. And a lot of people will choose not to hire the proper people to help guide them through. So it's nothing wrong with not knowing, but what do you do once you don't know? And that's where I suggest mentors and hiring the right consultants and coaches and different people that can come in and support you and hold you accountable in those areas.
And one of the key words that you just said that sticks with me, because I talk to a lot of small business owners, and part of their problem is finding the right person, because they say there's so many scam artists out there, and there have been some that have, you know, tried to hire I was even a business coach, and they come in and they've charged $10,000 to do a myriad of things, and at the end of the day, person still doesn't have a business plan.
Yeah.
You know, so how do you?
Yeah, you know, that's troubling, you know, and we probably could find that in every industry, but it's troubling when people tell me those types of stories. I would say do research and find out if you're hiring a coach, find out who their coach is. You know, so if someone is hiring you to be a coach, but they're not being coached, that would be a concern for me. And so I would want to know what type of results have they gotten? Whom have they gotten those results for? And is it somebody that you can talk to who have experienced their program or who's currently working with them and they've gotten results for, and to see if this person indeed is a good match for you. Sometimes it's just not a good match. And it's not the coach, it's not necessarily the business owner. They both could have good intentions, but it just may not be a good match.
So what I hear you saying is that you never get too old for a coach, that you should always be, even if you're in a position of coaching someone else,
Yes.
you should still have a coach
Absolutely,
yourself.
absolutely. Bill Gates says it this way. Bill Gates said everyone needs a coach because we are not good at seeing ourselves the way the world sees us.
That's true.
And so what a coach does is it gives you some perspective, right? It gives you some depth about how you're showing up. And oftentimes we clearly don't understand how important that is, or even recognize that. It's kind of like when you go home, Tia. You're not looking at your house for the first time.
Yeah.
But if someone comes in as
true.
the first time, they're going to see and notice things that you don't even see any longer. Yeah. Yes.
Let's go back to 2009 and compare it with where you are today. Is there anything that you would do different?
Yeah, I think one thing I would do different is I would look for strategic partners. I got into business not fully understanding. I thought I'd just go out and look for customers, and which I did, but that took a lot of time. And so there's some learning curves that I could cut short now. And one is to find strategic partners. So I play this game as who has my customer. So think about who's actually doing business with the person that you want to do business with, and build a relationship with that person where you can add value to them and to their customers in a hope that they might introduce you to the people they're doing business with.
Okay, so I was about to ask you, when you say strategic partners, what are you talking about? Are you talking about accountants, making sure you have a lawyer on your team? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, so it's good to have those people on your team to help service your business, but it's also important to build a relationship with them where you can then share referrals and share people that you may be working with that may complement their business. So obviously you would want strategic partners that aren't competition, obviously.
Right.
But secondly, you will want someone that's doing business in a way that's consistent with the way you do business, and then they may have customers that would be interested in your product. So then that does two things. One, it helps you get a new customer, and it adds value to that particular strategic partner.
So that means when we're going to all these various networking events, that we shouldn't be wasting our time with just passing out business cards if you don't find a connection there. Is that?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you just want to make new friends. I mean, that's always good.
But when you're networking, it should end up being
Yes.
a win-win for both.
It should be a
Would you
win-win.
agree?
And so what I say is there's three things that I say when networking. When you go, you're not going to meet everybody in the room, and it's not necessary. I would say find a good 4 to 6 people that you are interested in building a relationship with, and then maybe drill a little deeper in those conversations with those 5 to 6 people to see if they're a good match for you and what you're doing and what your vision is for the business, and then also how they can complement, because it's all about partnership. It's not necessarily about getting customers. That's kind of one-off.
Right,
That's
right.
kind of short-sighted.
Right. What advice would you give to someone who just started in a business? What sound advice would you give them?
Yeah, so what I would give them is don't hesitate to hire consultants. Don't hesitate to hire people that can come in and help you cut down on the learning curve and the time that it really takes to get a business started. And that's the one thing I would say that I didn't do enough of earlier on.
Okay.
But I've learned the value of paying people to be able to help grow my business.
Business.
Yes.
We have about a minute left, and I'd also like to ask that same question, but only this time, what advice would you give to people who are already in the trenches and they may be having trouble staying alive, what would you tell that businessman? What good advice could you give to that business person?
Sure, I would pull from the 6 silver bullets, and that is the strategic plan. You know, it's so important to have a plan, because without a plan, you don't know where you're going. Like it would be unreasonable for me to get in my car today and to drive to California without a map or a plan of how I'm going to get there and when I expect to get there. But so many of us start businesses without a strategic plan, and so then it's very difficult to be able to get to where we're going if we don't have a plan.
Right. Andre, I want to thank you so much
Yes.
for coming by today.
It's been my pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And,
Thank you, Tia.
we hope that you'll come back.
Yes, I would love that.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much for watching our show today featuring Andre Smith of Emerge Business Coaching. You will have an opportunity to hear more about what Andre has to share in future segments. We look forward to seeing you next week right here on Skills to Pay the Bills. See you soon. Bye-bye.